Hi, I'm Tanya representing the Robinson Lloyd Resiliency Group. We help companies to get an edge in three core ways. Firstly, we provide psychometric assessments that help our clients to understand how to help their students. We provide these services primarily to organizations that work with children and youth. Secondly, we use our data to customize program solutions or interventions that best meet the needs of our clients. And finally, we use our insights gained to help form meaningful connections or foster meaningful connections between our clients and all stakeholders. Today, I have the distinct honor of sharing our culminating speeches that were presented by students of the University Heights Charter School. First, you'd be hearing from their CEO, Dr. Christy Oliver. Just a bit of background about the Power Resilient Stars public speaking and self-awareness program. This evolved quite naturally from students sharing about their anxiety levels and, of course, their need to share how or express how they feel with more confidence, with more passion. And I am a distinguished Toastmaster of, for about 10 years or so. And I decided to use those skills to help them gain their skills in public speaking. Now, just a bit of background. Our students from University Heights Charter School will be addressing themes about the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas. They would also be sharing their thoughts on the closure of UHCS, as well as themes concerning their life, inclusion, and coming from different cultures. Really amazing speeches lined up. Now let's just stop for a second to think about the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas. According to the Washington Post, more than 311,000 students have experienced gun violence at school since Columbine. That's a big number, 311,000 students. We would like to, it seems that there's an attempt to brand persons living with mental health disorders as the perpetrators of these killings. But according to research, persons with serious mental health disorders were responsible for 10% of all violent crimes, homicides in the United States. For mass killings, they're responsible for 33%. The links for this data would be provided below. As I shared, our students learned how to develop their voice. They went through about 6 weeks of coaching on how to present a public speaking speech. They viewed topics that are current. And without further ado, we are going to look at the first message from the CEO of University Heights Charter School, Dr. Christy Oliver, followed by speeches from Christopher Gonzalez, who'd be sharing about his superpowers. That's a term that means characteristics or strengths that we teach in the Resilient Stars program. We'd also be hearing from London Davis, who shares and encourages us to take the jump, take the leap of faith, believe in ourselves. We'd also hear from Noah White, who was moved to write a speech after losing her great-grandmother, who lived to be 100 years old. We then hear from Maryennys Torres, who spoke about the crime situation, particularly the mass shootings that have occurred recently here in the United States. We'll also be hearing from Abraham Omo Ihauser, who shares about work ethic, success being 25% purposeful, driven, and 85% work ethic. And we are going to hear from Sarah Crutcher, who shared Who Am I? Her views on being a Black student of University Heights Charter School, a Black American, as well as the need to feel safe. And finally, we would be hearing from Osirami McCahan, Oya Kilomin, who would be sharing her desire to fit in. I thank you, and I ask you to please share this video widely, share all of our videos with our speeches, because they're going to impact lives in a very, very powerful way. These children really moved the audience with their speeches. Very, very amazing, and very proud of each and every one of them. Thank you. Okay, that was our minute. And now I'd like to invite Maryennys Torres to give her speech, Stop the Crime.
Okay, so first off, I would like to say hello to everyone. My name is Maryennys Torres, and I would like to start off with a special good evening to Dr. Oliver and Dr. Kemp, Mrs. Lloyd, judges, parents, guests, and fellow speakers, and also a tremendous thank you to the girls that went through this program with me and that were in my group and became some of my very close friends. True crime, a fixation of mine. It's horrible and sometimes draining. Hearing about death constantly is draining. All of a sudden, you have to be more aware because you don't know who's behind that corner when you're walking down the street, or who's behind the face that you see every day. Serial killers, psychopaths, sociopaths, and predators constantly around us, yet we don't even know it. It's a scary world with even scarier people in it. I myself aren't terrified of them. I'm not scared of death. I'm scared of what happens after. That's why I told myself that I want to be in the FBI, catching those monsters that like to hide in the dark. I want to make sure that those around me, like my brother, sister, and mother, don't have to face that fear. That if you reject the wrong person, you're dead, or say the wrong comment to a kid, and now you're staring at the barrel of a gun while your classmates and you cry, apologizing to them. Crime is everywhere. It doesn't matter what tax bracket you're in. No person should have to live in fear. I decided not to live in fear. I've been through too much in life for a sorry excuse of a person to insert fear into me. I don't look for trouble, and I'm surely not the fighting type, but once it comes down to it, I refuse to be hidden off or locked away because someone decides that today they want to feel those urges. Also, did I forget to mention, in most cases, drug dealers get more time in jail than rapists and sex offenders? But let me tell you something. People aren't urges, and people aren't all crazy. That's just what others use as an excuse to hurt others. They are crazy so they can't take responsibility. They are crazy so that society can deem that it's okay for them to do what they did. It's okay because they were bullied, they say. You should see the comments that people make and the excuses that people come up with just so they don't have to take accountability for what they did. We were all created with our own minds to think, yet still to this day, certain people don't look past color. Because if the shooter's Black, then it's an upbringing issue. If they're brown or Muslim, it's a terrorism issue. If they're Hispanic, it's a border issue. But let the shooter be white, and all of a sudden, it's a mental health issue. You want to know what's a mental health issue? All the families that have been separated due to gun violence. Fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, grandparents. But I guess not all true crime is true, right?